Welcome back to Switch to Linux, everybody. So, we are doing kind of a impromptu live stream. I was just going to go ahead and record this as just a basic, just like a basic video and just upload it. But, I just have so much time. It's fun doing the live streams. I figured I may not catch many people, but we'll see what happens. I'm kind of testing out new settings, so make sure, let me know if things are working and working smoothly or not. It's just I'm actually running the stream at 1080p, which is something I do not generally do, and so let me know how it works and how it's looking. The other thing that I have another change in the office, and that is that I now have a much better studio light, so you can kind of see this ambient glow from all things just like a sun. I'm kind of staring sort of at a sun, and so it's kind of crazy. I got myself here a new pot of coffee here, just brewing up the rest of the way, and we'll see what's gonna go on. So for sure, let me know how things look. And actually, this is so impromptu, I forgot to even double check that my title things are working right. So we'll phase through this, and I'll just kind of slowly go talk until I get everything figured out and just make sure that we're looking good. And actually we are. My settings are pretty good. So we're going to have a look at some news topics. We're going to be looking at a couple of little Facebook things, and then we're going to be looking at something came up in the news with Cody this week, and so we're going to have a look at that. Of course, Senate's taking a swing at the net neutrality, so we're going to talk about that a little bit, and just a few other fun little news things. We are doing this stream earlier in case you usually catch my Friday news shows. I'm doing the stream early and very impromptu because I actually have to be out of town here, so I'm going to be heading out for a little bit here after a bit for a day or two. So I'm going to attempt to do another outdoor philosophy on the road this time, and I'll upload that as soon as I can. And I am planning a live tinfoil hat time looking at Windows 10s on Sunday evening, probably 9 o'clock Eastern. So you can come by for that. Of course, if you'd like to help support the site, I am on Patreon, so you can check out my Patreon page over there, and I'm still kind of working on getting things developed and moving more content and working on a plan to move things over there. So hello, Robert. If you are joining a little bit later, let me know how the stream is looking. I'm just testing out a few new settings here. I thought I'd go ahead and give this a try, an impromptu, and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We'll figure it out. But progress is done through experimentation, so that's what we're going to do. Experiment a little bit. All right. So with all of that, I think what we're going to do is we're going to kind of jump right on in with a few general basic news items. One of those here being Facebook. Of course, Facebook is, I'm not a huge fan of Facebook. And so with that, what I would like to say about Facebook is sometimes they're getting a little bit scammy here. So this article here is, obviously there's a lot of teens and a lot of kids that don't know a whole lot about web technologies on Facebook. And so what we're going to do is just have a quick look at what they did. Of course, Facebook collects users on their data, or collects data on their users. And so, nothing else is new. So apparently, what happened here, now they come out and say, well, no, we weren't actually tracking data to be used, but what we were doing is we are going to, we're just doing a study, kind of like there are other studies that were actually highly illegal according to human rights protocols for studies. But we're doing a study that looks at how kids interact with Facebook. Of course, they're saying that they do not let these advertisers have this information, and I just call balderdash simply because it's Facebook. Now, I'm not going to give Facebook a total junk shoot here, because they did do a couple of things that were not too bad, that I'm going to talk about, not related to this article. This is just garbage. You shouldn't be monitoring what people are doing and interacting and allowing people to do that kind of stuff. It's just kind of crazy. So in this, basically they had used an outside source to aggregate data about teens and how they interacted with Facebook. And basically the allegement here is that they're using that information to allow advertisers to target teens in certain areas. And I think targeting any kids in that area is certainly a problematic thing. And so that's one of the things that we have to keep in mind there, is that this is not really all that good. But anyway, that's what Facebook's up to in the news. How exciting. Uber, of course. What would the news be without Uber? And I'm telling you, every time somebody calls for an Uber, a poor kitty like this gets beat up. I mean, that's just bad. That's just bad. We don't want poor kitties to get beat up. But basically, this is not necessarily new news. This is dealing with the gray ball application that was reported a few months back. But in this case, now they're looking at a criminal probe over this gray ball. So was this gray ball really being used illegally? Well, the evidence seems to show that, yeah, it was being used illegally. It was being used illegally. I mean, they were specifically using this to target police and muddle their data to prevent their drivers from being caught literally breaking the law. Like, this is like so much conspiracy. These guys just close the company down and throw everyone involved in jail for a while. You're unscrupulous, people. You're unscrupulous. Just go. Please leave this world. Speaking of unscrupulousness, Cody was in the news. I caught this one because I use Cody quite a bit. I use Cody over here to interact with some things. I also use Cody as, I don't want a smart TV, and I certainly don't want to pay a subscription service. So I use Cody, and I deal with the things that are legitimately free. Like, and if you missed it, last night I did a long live stream setting up Cody on a Raspberry Pi using Open Source Media Center. Set that up, got that over there, working great. Everything works great except for the whole muddling issue that I cannot really access things that are not in my office on my network because I have 1,700 bajillion Wi-Fi networks floating all over the place. Most of these high-powered Comcast things that are totally destroying my internet. I'd like to line my whole house in tinfoil for a while. But that being said, what's going on here is Cody is kind of under attack a little bit, and this is an example of why we have to be concerned about net neutrality. So there is the possibility of doing unscrupulous things with Cody, and I would encourage people to not do unscrupulous things with Cody. You want to make sure that you are following the laws, following the rules, doing all this kind of stuff, making sure you're doing things right. So I access things that are freely available online for free, at least the best of my knowledge. I'd grab things like TED Talks. They produce their own plugin. I did do Top Documentary Films. They produce their own plugin, accessing the content. So, I use Cody in very good ways, very appropriate ways. Of course, I have my media library put into that, so I can access my music library or a lot of open free streaming stuff available on my system without breaking the rules. Now, of course, the argument, some people are coming down and saying, well, this is the problem because Kodi is allowing us to circumvent things and to stream stuff. Well, it's not Kodi. It's the fact it's open source software and that people are able to do things with it that, frankly, is not right. However, we still have to remember that personal responsibility is a thing of today. Go after the people that are breaking the rules. Leave Kodi alone. Because, frankly, I will not buy some third-party smart TV. What do I want to do? Buy a Vizio TV so it can perpetually spy on me? How about a Samsung TV so they can use all of my data collection for their internal marketing? No, thank you. I will take an open source Raspberry Pi and Kodi combination, and I will do what I need to do with my own streaming services, but I keep it legal. I encourage you to keep it legal. Just do it right. But this is basically the reason I bring this up in how it relates to net neutrality is that as people are finding some of these streaming services coming into Kodi going on, then what happens is some ISPs have started to block. I was trying to find that list again. Several major ISPs started to block a lot of things based upon their IP, and this is an example of net neutrality. So while this may be currently occurring on what they're calling here pirated streams, and BT, Sky, TalkTalk, and Virgin Media were blocking specified servers, particularly related to the Premier League football games. Basically, what this means is that they can come back and here and block services. So in a world where net neutrality is completely dead, like the Senate's trying to happen right now, then what's going on is I have internet through some provider that I have no choice because of my region, because I have no choice in my internet. There are technically 5 broadband internet companies. Only one of them gives me internet above 5 Mbps, okay? So that's really not choice when it comes to broadband internet. And so what I'm doing here is I'm starting to look at the problem of what happens when they say, well, we want Hulu because they're related to Hulu, but they're not necessarily related to Netflix. So they want to block Netflix on something, but allow Hulu. Well, what if Netflix is my preference? And this is the problem. So now with even a Linux-powered open source free system that I can put on my own device, connect to my dumb TV to convert my dumb TV into a smart TV. Now net neutrality says they can still block everything I do unless I'm paying them extra paywall. And this is balderdash. All right. Hello, NI. How are you? And hi, Piggy Uniform. Welcome back with Wi-Fi. We are just talking about how Facebook was selling emotionally distraught teenagers' data, and Uber being Uber, you know. Why is that news? But, oh well. And then here's the information on Kodi. And of course, if you are catching this later on, then, you know, yesterday I did a live stream setting up a Kodi on Raspberry Pi so I can attach it to my dumb TV and have a smart TV. So that's kind of good. All right. Let's look at a little bit of security. I don't think I have a security thing, do I? I have an evil tech. I have a privacy. Why don't we just go ahead and turn on the privacy one? Okay, this one here, the gears might cause some stuttering in the noise. Tell me if there's stuttering in the noise in the comments. If there is, I will get the gears off of there. But I like those gears. They're cool. See what happens here. All right. So this was the Google Doc worm that went out. Guess what? I never got one. Shocking. I don't use much Google Docs. Okay. I have a couple projects that use Google Docs, but so basically this Google Docs worm comes out, and it basically would allow you, so here's the real email, here's the fake email. Definitely looks legit. So basically, as this goes out, you have to click the button. And I'm sure you guys have ever seen the thing where you click on the button, and clicking on the button, it takes you to the Google login page. Well, that's what they had done. They'd spoofed that. You get in there, and they were able to get around your security, and you allowed full authorization access. It's kind of like every time if you're on Facebook and you're playing one of those stupid Facebook games, you're like, allow this application. Of course, because I have to play this stupid Facebook game. You push the button on there. You go, no, the Facebook games are going in. But what you didn't do, or what you did do, and you may not realize you did, because who reads terms and conditions anyway, is that by allowing a Facebook to play a game, you are now granting Facebook access to all of your settings, and all of your contacts, and all their public settings. So by you playing a Facebook game, if I'm connected to you on Facebook, now you have granted Facebook's, or this application, my Facebook's data access. What's going on? And this is why you be very cautious. And I literally unfriend people who play a lot of games or who send me game requests simply because of that very reason, that every one of those stupid game requests is they are literally, without reading terms and conditions, allowing Facebook to collect my data. Somebody else not reading a documentation allows them to connect with my data. And that's the problem. And that's actually why I don't use Facebook. All right. So basically, this guy here allowed a whole lot of people's Google contacts. Of course, since everybody has all their contacts on Google and all their documents on Google and all their life on Google and all their everything on Google, they literally just gave scammers complete and full access to everything. And that's a challenge. We need to make sure that we're countering that kind of stuff. All right. So, of course, Google, it took them a day or so, but they came out with anti-phishing checks. Warning, this looks suspect. Oh, but the problem is that these emails came from people in your own contact list, so you had no real reason to submit that they were potentially suspicious. So just be cautious about all of these online services. That's my message to the world right now. Just be cautious of all these online services. Oh boy, on to more security and privacy. Here's a dumb moment. Where's my brain in a jar? Hold on. Need my brain in a jar. Because some people are doing some really silly things. Well, it's my brain in a petri dish, really. Greyhound.com does not allow you password changes. They have 4-digit pins, and then they email them to you in plain text. Wow. That's hilarious. This is so wrong on so many levels. Plain text emailing, bad. Not allowing you to change your passwords, bad. Allowing short passwords like 1234, bad. This is like the hacker's dream come true. At least Linux can allow password changes. Yes. All right. So Greyhound did this, and this other person down here in the promoted comment says, this is apparently related to the student loan. So yeah, let's, this is good news. So your username is locked in as your social security number and your password is an unchangeable 5-digit PIN. Hi, Ryan. Yes, I came out of nowhere because I am not available to do a live stream tonight. I will be doing a live stream Sunday night, 9 o'clock Eastern, and we are going to be talking about Windows 10 S. We're going to pontificate. What does S mean? Is it slim? Is it sucks? Is it spy? Is it stupid? I don't know. We're going to talk about what Windows 10 S means. What does that S mean? S store? Ooh, Windows 10 store? Ooh. Windows 10, sorry. we done messed up. All right. But anyway, just be cautious of if you're using Greyhound or you know anybody using Greyhound. Yeah. Yes, all that is what I said is what S means. Indeed. We're going to have fun with it, though. On Sunday night, we are going to have fun with that. All right. Now, this was a good one. Sprint. So Sprint wants to give everybody these mystical magical boxes to put inside of your house. And wind blows 10, yep. All right, so Windows 10 Sport. I don't have that. I actually have a going sticky note of what S means. I'm going to add Sport to that. I mean, they are locking you in with that new stuff. All right. Okay, so here Sprint wants to give you these mystical magical boxes, and basically what the idea behind this thing is it's going to act as like micro cell towers to boost things up. And I'm a little leery at this point allowing any telecommunications company put anything in, and I'm sorry, it's not telecommunications company anymore, at least if the Senate has its way and the FCC has its way. Sorry, this is not a telecommunications company. I'm trying to figure out what it is, but we'll talk about that more in a few minutes. But basically, it's supposed to be like a mini tower. My question is, are they collecting more data about this? I'm leery about this because this now allows them to determine who is within very close proximity to this. And that's my major concern with a box like this. I'm fine with the tower being on the mountain on the over ridge. They can detect at least if I'm within a 50-mile radius, that's fine. But this thing here can, in theory, detect and become a little stingray, effectively, to tell who is within 100-foot approximation of this device. And that right there is freaky to me. But there's something else troubled me about this as I was looking at this thing. Look at this website. And don't look at the website if you're prone to epilepsy, okay? Because this is crazy. Do you know what this website reminds me of? This website right here reminds me of this. Let's go back and compare these. Sprint, what are you doing? You got stuff flying all over the place, just like the world's worst website. I think we have a new contender for the world's worst website. This is insane. Oh boy. Windows 10. Ooh, sad edition. All you can do is talk to depressed Cortana and ooh, I like it. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm going to snap a photo of that comment, Piggy. You're going to be featured again on my tinfoil hat time. That's a comment that's worthwhile. Does it come with Paxil? Ooh. How are you surprised to see you were online now? I see you not. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah, actually, I mean, I usually just work during the day here, but I covered almost enough hours this week. And I have to do some travel out of town here. So I decided I was going to just record this, but it's just so much more fun interacting with the people. So I want to go ahead and do it. I will probably not get nearly as many people as I usually have because I'm usually on at night, but why not? Also, let me know if you're new on here. Let me know how the stream is going. How's the audio? How's the video? I also installed a new light. If I look just slightly above the camera, it looks like I'm staring straight into the sun. But hopefully it'll get a lot better quality going on. Also, if you're late to the show, look at this cat. That's just like adorable right there. He's like, yeah, this is the life. All right, the most amazing website on the internet.com. Ooh, I haven't seen that one before. Let's have a look. Yeah, there's a few of these most horrible websites. Oh, that's hideous. I'm assuming it's playing sound too. I don't have my speakers hooked up, but for those interesting, again, epilepsy warning. Whoa, holy, okay, I gotta close that down. I might get sued for inducing epilepsy. Woo, I don't want that to happen. All right, so let's get away from these guys here. Here is another interesting one. I'm actually gonna go back and say I'm actually gonna tell Facebook, hey, all right, possibly good job on this one. So in response to live stream deaths, maybe it should have been under the good but troubling. Under the live stream deaths, Facebook decided they're going to hire 3,000 more moderators to watch all these live streams going on. Make sure no one's about to, whatever. But I guess what I wanted to say about this is, in this modern day fast-paced world, of course, here I have all sorts of people from all over the world watching this live stream right now. But what happens is we move into this culture where people feel more comfortable online than they feel offline, and which is kind of neurotic. We got to get away from that. But I think what happens is that we need to remember and focus and think about the possibilities of the fact that not everybody has this close knit, and I encourage people to kind of jump off the boat. As far as like, get off the internet every now and again and go spend time with real people. Not real people while you're doing this with phones, but put these stupid phones down and go and spend real time with real people. And I encourage everybody to do that because it's just so important to make sure that we have a real association. But what's going on here with this news and with this article, of course, this was in response to the guy who live streamed murdering somebody. And then there were some suicides and attempted suicides. But what happens is nowadays a lot of people feel a whole lot closer being in an online community than they feel being in an offline community. And so because of that, what happens is what happens is that we forget that there isn't an offline help community that we could gather around us. And as people become crazier and more desperate, and which is a reality, people are becoming more desperate in this world. They don't feel like they can go anywhere to talk, and so they go to these online communities. And so now we have these online communities like this. Even here on YouTube, if I didn't have an offline community and this is all I had, that would kind of be a sad life. And if I wanted to get attention, I very well might do something crazy on a live stream. So kudos to Facebook, because what they're actually doing here is they're putting on moderators here to view these live streams, and in many cases they're alerting local authorities when they can if something seems to go awry. And that's a great thing to do, is to prevent those, because hopefully somebody can get the help that they need. And so I'm going to call kudos to Facebook. That does not happen every day. It pains me to say that, but this is fine. Of course, Zuckerberg's here. Of course, maybe they have ulterior motives. We can't let our people kill themselves. We would lose one more sheeple. But I'm not going to put that negative of a spin on it. All right. Next breaking news. I need to have like a stupidity type news thing here, but oh well. We're not going to. Apple. This is funny. All right. So Apple CEO Tim Cook, he blames the iPhone 8 rumors for dropping iPhone 7 sales. No. All right. Let me tell you, I have an iPhone SE. I bought this guy used about 6 months ago when iOS 10 bricked my 5C, because I was happy on my 5C. I don't want a 6. Okay? I don't want a 7. I don't want an 8. I'm very happy with this phone. And I think that there's a few potential reasons why iPhone 7 sales are dropping. One potential reason is we're realizing it's really stupid to go out and blow $800 on a brand new phone every year. And too many people have gotten too into the habit of trading in their perfectly working phone for the latest model. And I think more people are wising up to that, and they're going to stop doing that. So I think that that's one of those things that needs to go on, is that some people have just stopped. So maybe that's the reason iPhone 7 sales are going down. Maybe iPhone 7 isn't quite as popular because of other issues. Like, for me, I would never buy one because it doesn't have a headphone jack. I use the headphone jack on my phones. I am not getting some wireless blah, blah, blah. All right. Piggy Uniform, I thought you had an iPhone 8, man. Come on. I saw that video. You have an iPhone 8. All right. So, yeah, and I think people like iPhone 7 sales. On top of that, we have market saturation. We have Android providing a whole lot more choices. We have a lot of other reasons why people are not necessarily getting an iPhone 7. I don't think you can sit back and say, oh, it's just rumors that iPhone 8 is going to come out soon. No, everyone's always known an iPhone 8 is coming out. You can set your calendar by the iPhone releases. Yes, I know it was a Game Boy. I know. I watched it. Jeesh. $1,000 a year for the same phone. Yep. And that's the thing. The differences between the phones. Like, there was a little bit of a jump from the 4 to the 5. There was a pretty big jump from the 5 to the 6, but it was jumps that I hated. If you still had a 1, a 2, or a 3, or a 4, you would definitely benefit from getting a new phone. But the changes, because the technology's not growing that much faster, that's really the problem. So, of course, this was all extracted from, from a just a phone call of a board meeting. But, he's basically blaming the rumors on the iPhone 8 for the decline in sales. No, it's just that Apple's sales have been declining, So, that's that. All right, let's see. YouTube is the reason of epilepsy deaths. Yeah. All right, $1,000 a year. Let's see. 6 plus just to eliminate the iPad. Yeah, I still have an iPad. I actually prefer the iPad and the phone for different things. All right. So, not sure what I want to call this one. We're just going to keep with the same theme. All right. So, the new law was introduced from the Senate Okay, so there's a little bit of controversy, according to me, surrounding this. So what they're calling this is the Restoring Internet Freedom Act. Of course, anytime for the last few years, if whatever they're naming the law, the real law is the exact opposite of what it's called. It's like a government level opposites term? I don't know. So the Restoring Internet Freedom Act was first introduced in 2015. And what happened there on 2015 is that they introduced this act, which was to prevent the FCC from reclassifying broadband internet. Of course, millions and millions of responses came down where people said, stop, okay? And so what ended up happening is the FCC, Tom Wheeler says, oh, this is a bad idea. Let's go ahead and reverse this. You know, and then of course that killed the bill. Well, this bill was just reintroduced. Now, I first pulled this article from Consumers who had a link to this bill, but I could not verify that link actually came from anything. I could not find any government source where that came from. But to the contrary, I found this, which literally says, as of today, the text has not been received for S993, which is this bill. And so while this is indeed the same bill from the same people that introduced the, quote, Restoring Internet Freedom Act in 2015, I'm not going to jump on and link to the PDF that Consumerist had because I could not verify that it came from a government source. And this is the official source from the government from this bill, and they're literally saying that it has not come out yet. And so while I think it's going to be the same, while I think Consumers may very well have it, maybe I can email Consumers and ask them from a direct release, because when Consumers lists their PDFs, they link them to their own WordPress site so that if the link goes bad or changes, they still have the original copy, which is great, but I'd really love it if they'd also link the original source, because I could not verify it. But I did verify here that the text for the bill has not actually been received. Although you can search around and find the 2015, but the 2015 is a different text. The text, quote unquote, is the same, but the header information is different. And so I'm a little leery. Is Consumers doing something right or not? I don't know. But regardless, this is this guy. So if this is your senator, vote him out. In Utah senators, Utah people, vote your senator out, vote your senator out. He's an idiot. He somehow seems to think that the Restoring Internet Freedom Act means that we're going to restore internet freedom. We're going to restore internet freedom. No, we're not going to restore internet freedom. You're going to destroy internet freedom. You're going to prevent the ISPs from being able to choose what information comes down their system. This guy needs voted out of office. Vote him out. Vote him out. Vote him out. Vote him out. And then let's have 10 times the comments to the FCC. Everybody get on there with the FCC. Send some comments to let them know. Do not remove this classification of the internet. Whew. All right. So, with that being said, you can see what the progress is over here. We need to all let our senators and congresspeople know. Of course, this is the senator version. I think there's a congressional version floating around somewhere. We'll see what's going on. But regardless, the Senate is what they're trying to do is, I've talked about all this bill, I haven't said what it does. So the idea here is it prevents the FCC from reclassifying broadband internet to a telecommunications service. Let's ponder that for a second. I need to think on some coffee. That's ridiculous. It's really ridiculous. Okay, I just had to do some teleconferences today. We got two guys from a small startup company down in Austin, Texas, on the line with the director of a project in Connecticut. And of course, I'm over here in central Pennsylvania. And all of us get on through the internet to have a teleconference call. What part of the internet is not a teleconferencing service? Like, this is telecommunications. And this is telecommunications for the 21st century. I'm going to light myself on fire again. The internet is telecommunications. We do not have landline phones anymore. So according to this, let's just kill the entire common carrier concept, which is not something we need to do. To the contrary, what we need to do is we need to make sure that we have the ability to make sure that the ISPs that we are forced to use, because we do not actually have choice in the matter, are prevented from blocking. And they are not going to self-regulate themselves, people. They will not self-regulate. They will not self-regulate. Self-regulation looks like Uber. There's too much financial motivation for them not to. And the other thing we need to do is we need to request books that, and this is globally, not just for these companies. Any company who is caught breaking the law, we should investigate every bit of profit they earned, and their fine should be 10 times the amount of profit they earned by breaking the law. Because right now, a company breaks the law. It's found they break the law. They make $20 million. Their fine is $200,000. It's called a business expense. And when you can get a 90% ROI on your money, that's a good plan. We need to put some stricter laws into this on following the rules. I'm going to light myself on fire. I have to keep a lighter handy. I might light myself on fire when I go on fire sometime. That'd be fun. Just keep the gas away. Oh, of course, with all of this talk about this, I mean, we all know that there's this wonderful amount of, wonderful amount of competition. Why are legislators trying to prevent local municipal broadband? Like, you want to talk about the dangers and the challenges of, like, competition, preventing monopolies? Let's talk about competition. Okay, the people in a region want to get together and establish their own broadband internet. Cool! Awesome! Let's do it. They actually have to fight against lawmakers' bills to get this to happen. Now, unfortunately, these guys got it, but how many places do they not? So, cities and towns in Maine, they want to provide their own broadband service. The Republicans in the state are like, no, we don't want to do that. That competes with the people paying us our money. Yeah, we can't do that. This is going to hurt competition. If you can do that, it's going to hurt competition. Brains much, people? Brains much? Oh boy. So the people have to come in and fight against their own elected people who are supposed to be doing what's yeah, global monopoly. Well, this is called a corporatocracy. You can check out my tinfoil hat time from a couple weeks ago on the corporatocracy. That's what we're fighting against right now. Yeah, this is what happens when corporations and banks buy out politicians and buy out the government. This is all about control. That's what it is. They're stifling competition. Like, what are they going to do? Come up with this act like this is the Total Competition Act. The Total Competition Act, by the government regulations right now, in the opposites term governmental system we have right now, just kind of comes out and says, I don't know. All right, there we go. Lighting myself on fire here because it's like they're going to come out with this new bill, new law. It says this is the competition bill. The competition bill prevents any other competition. What's going on? Why is it we're talking about Net neutrality hurts competition. How does it hurt competition? By destroying net neutrality, you are now hurting competition because now Comcast or Time Warner or whoever else has access to their own streaming service will down-regulate other streaming services for the purpose of upregulating their own stream service, and so now competition is destroyed. So by removing net neutrality, you have destroyed competition. Because each one of the people that you are forced to use their ISP because you have no other choice. I'll tell you how stupidly retarded Comcast is. For the third time in 6 months, they have attempted to add a $10 equipment service fee to my bill. 3 times in 6 months. What do they think? Of course, now they keep on wanting to, like, oh, set this up on autopay, set this up on autopay, set this up on autopay. So what, they can autopay me, auto charge me $10 because I'm not watching my bills? Get it through your head, Comcast. I look at my bills, as we all should. I'm going to need some water to put myself out. I might. Lordy. So more Android phones than ever are covertly listening for inaudible sounds and ads. So what's going on here is advertisers, major advertisers are starting to put ultrasonic sounds inside of commercials, and then a smartphone which has had certain apps, and it could be apps you don't even know. It could be a latest video game, but they'll have that app network integrated, and it will cause the microphone to kick on or off at random times. And what the microphone will do is listen for the ultrasonic sounds that you can't hear, and then that gives that'll report the data back to the company, to the ad network company. And so they can tell if your phone, and by extension you, but mostly if your phone has been within proximity of a commercial. And so it's a way for an advertiser to regulate, to determine how many people are being exposed to their advertisements. And so that's kind of something to keep in mind. There what's going on there. I'm just realized that my video for this has not been full span. There we go. That's better. There, my gears are back. All right. So anyway, what's going on here is we have the TV audio will detect the from the smartphone, but then what happens is with the smartphone's connections to the other devices that you have, you can now cross-track individual people back to their own individual devices. And it basically gives them a whole lot better idea as to who's watching and seeing what. So I gotta tell you, it took a couple of days, but I don't have a Samsung Galaxy anymore. I'm back down to a flip phone. I'm loving it. I'm loving the fact that I have one less device around my house that can spy at me without me knowing about it. And that's kind of where we need to get to. We need to get to that point where we're not being tracked so much. We need to pause, put on the brakes, get out of consumerism a little bit. Trust me, the economy's not going to collapse if we get out of consumerism. We just very well might have a little bit more money to spend on real things. And so that's kind of how I wanted to end this out, just saying that this is kind of bad. Of course, this is Golden Arches Development Company. Oh, that's McDonald's. Okay, McDonald's. Okay. I was just going to say, that sounds fun. Moseberg, Mobitext. So these are the developers. These are the actual application. Oh, Krispy Kremes, Pinio, Civil Service. So basically what they're doing here is, let's see, 5 of these apps were built using it. So 234 different apps have been used building this advertiser network. So, and I'm not sure if they have an entire list. Let's see. Privacy policies enforce all apps. I do not recall seeing a whole list of what are the apps. That's the type of thing I'd like to see in an article like this, is you tell me every single app that's using that, because I'm going to go through and I'm going to uninstall them all right now, because I do not need that type of tracking. All right. With that, I think we have got to a good ending point in our live impromptu news. Sorry for the no notice there, but I did want to make sure that we got this out. And I just have so much more fun hanging out with you guys than doing this with just recording it. So it sounds like the streaming looks good. So this should be streaming at full 1080p. I usually do 720. But this looks good. It looks like we're streaming at 1080 without a problem. Light should be good. Let me know in the comments or whatever else. And yes, I'm going to go and take a very, very cold shower and sing, "We are the world. We are the bad lighters," apparently. Oh, that's that. All right. Hey, I still have some coffee over here too. That's good. Awesome. So I need to wrap it up for the evening, and I will see everybody. Come on back for a live tinfoil hat time. What does S in Windows 10s actually mean? 9 o'clock Eastern time on Sunday is the target date, and I will let you know if that changes. But with all of that being said, have yourself a wonderful day, everybody, and see you all later.